Son of a bitch.
Groovy.
Hey everybody, this is Matthew Movies coming at you with my review of Knock Knock, the 2015 Eli Roth horror film that I thought was very, very effective at what it tries to do. It's a very interesting film. It's a kind of a bottle movie where everything takes place in this single home and this very limited kind of storytelling, and there's very few characters in it, and there's really only three that you come to care about in any kind of way that you see a lot. I mean, there are a couple of characters that are largely off screen that you get introduced to early on that you do have some emotional connection to, but it's much more in relation to one of the people that you see on the screen. And for those of you who haven't seen it, essentially it stars Keanu Reeves as this guy who, you know, he's living his life, he's a professional, he works from home, and he has a wife and a child, and they go off and so that he can stay home and get some work done, and he's going to go and meet them afterwards. And then one night he's working, and all of a sudden there's a knock on the door, and these two young women are at his door looking for help from him, and he offers it up, and he comes to regret it, because as the movie progresses they decide to seduce him, and you know, at first he's a little bit standoffish, but he doesn't put up much of a fight, and before too long he sleeps with both of them, and then he comes to regret it, because it turns out that they are not what they seem to be. And yes, at first they seem very comfortable with him, even after sleeping with him, they seem very kind, but then obviously he starts to realize that he can't really get rid of them, and as he tries to, they decide that they're not going to leave, and that they're going to take some anger out on him, because they feel like he took advantage of them, and they know he's married and he has a child, and that he should be taught responsibility for people in his life, and to take responsibility for what he did to them. And yes, you find out that it was all a plan of theirs, that they set him up in order for this to happen. But you know, he is by no means a babe in the woods. He betrayed his family and put himself in this position. He could have let them in, he could have let them use the phone, he could have turned down their advances and shown them the door, and everything would have been fine. But because he was weak and lustful, he is very much punished from it. And throughout the rest of the film, you know, they tie him up to a chair, they torture him, they cut his hair, they let him know that they were going to inform his wife and his kid what he's done. They threaten to tear apart his life, and he becomes more and more desperate to not only escape with his life, but also escape from the repercussions that they seem to have set up for him. And it's very, very interesting, because you know, throughout the movie you do understand that he is by no stretch of the imagination a great guy. He did just betray his wife and his young child, and they do show you his wife and his kid, and he seems to have this very idyllic lifestyle, and it was very clear that his wife absolutely adores him, and his son adores him, and you know, he has so much to give up because he's so selfish. He puts himself in that moment above everything else, and it's interesting because as a viewer you're like, oh come on man, you could have said no, he should have said no. You know, I'm somebody who absolutely doesn't believe in cheating whatsoever. You know, that's a horrible thing to do. So he's not the most lovable dude in the world, but at the same time, to go be put through all the things that he is throughout the rest of the movie, he doesn't deserve that level of repercussion. So you do root for him throughout it, and I mean, there is also that kind of guttural guy thing that you're like, you know, having two women to sleep with is a dream come true to a lot of us. So you can kind of a little bit understand the decision he made, even though it's so reprehensible and something that, you know, you would never do yourself. And so he's a very complicated character in that regard. And then you have the two young women that seem to be so gleeful in what they're doing to him, but at the same time there is they're very interesting characters because you can try to understand what brought them to this moment where they would be doing this, and that they're not just destroying his life just for the F of it. They're trying to teach him a lesson, and why how they got to this point in their lives. You're trying to understand them, and he's trying to understand them, and they're kind of doing almost that Joker in the Dark Knight thing where they're trying to give him explanations, but then as he tries to kind of play off them, they're laughing at him. They're not being, they weren't forthright in their explanation, and the way that they kind of the intercut between the two of them and him, the relationship, it's very, very fascinating. I thought it was a very well written movie, and just a very entertaining flick. So those are my thoughts on Knock Knock. Let me know in the comment section below what you think, if you've seen it, if you're a fan of it, what you think of the concept, whatever. Other than that, please hit that like button, hit that share button. It makes it much more likely that other people come check out this review and let me know what they think, which would be awesome because I love talking to people about movies. And speaking of which, if you are new here or you just haven't done it yet, please, please, please hit subscribe, hit that notification bell. That way you can find out when I put out a new video, you can come and check it out and give me that feedback, which would be awesome. Aside from all that though, have yourself a good day.